Okay, let's talk about what it takes to progress as a black lawyer. Now, this is part one of a 5-part series I'm doing for you on this topic. Now, don't be overwhelmed. 5 parts might sound like a lot, but I'm deliberately breaking this up so that it feels very accessible for you, so that it is very, very clear, and so that going forward you have this series as a resource. So anytime you wake up and you're feeling frustrated in your career, you're feeling unhappy, you're feeling like you have lost your way, you're feeling like you want more and you're not sure exactly how to get there, or you're not sure about what it's going to require of you, you can come back to this series to help set you, to help set the picture for you and help you to see what your next step needs to be. Okay, so specifically in this episode, in part one, we're looking at where you are in your career right now, and if that is not where you want to be, if you're not achieving the success that you want or you know that you're capable of, we're looking at your power, your ability to change that. It sounds really obvious. If you're someone who is used to coaching, perhaps, if you are someone who's used to being very proactive in their career, then this might seem like a given and not such a big deal and not worth doing a whole episode or part one as part of a 5-part series. It may not seem like worthy of a whole episode in its own right. But I want to offer a couple of things. Number one, even if you know this, even if you know you have the ability to change things, there's a reason why you're not doing it. There are things in your career that you are settling for, that you are putting up with, that you are tolerating, that you are letting go by, even though you know that it is within your capacity to change things. And I want, if this is you, I want this episode to be the ignition, to be the thing that really motivates you to go, right, it's the end of another year, it's December, I'm going into a new year, I've decided I'm going to take ownership next year, I want to change things up, I want to start to create more of the right results for myself in a career. So if you already know about taking ownership, it's something you already do, this is going to motivate you to do so with more intention. However, but for so many of you who are listening today, this will also be quite new. The idea that you have it within your power to change how you feel in your career, to create different outcomes for yourself. In other words, to decide, I want to be promoted, or I want to progress to the next level. Like the idea that you can be the one to create that, for so many of you, will be a novel thing, will be something you struggle to believe in, something that you doubt and you question all the time, or maybe you haven't even properly considered what that means for you in terms of your own personal power. So if that is you, this episode is the episode to create a shift from being or feeling like a victim in your career, like it's something that happens to you, like it's all about the circumstances around you that are outside of your control, to being the person who has a tremendous power over their career and over their experience of, well, not just work, but just of your life as well. To being the person who is never going to again tolerate feeling stuck for indefinite amounts of time, wishing things were different and feeling powerless to change them. This will never be you once you've listened to this episode and implemented and activated what I'm going to teach. So it has really broad application, and I invite all of you to tune in really closely, really deeply, and follow me every step of the way. Here's what I'm hearing far too much of. So many of you are feeling frustrated in your career right now. You're feeling unhappy, exhausted. A number of you feeling despondent, feeling disillusioned with the whole thing, with where you are. There's a lot of anxiety. So many of you are feeling isolated and alone, feeling lost, feeling unsure, questioning your value, questioning whether you're enough. And all of these feelings, right, are happening alongside the actual real circumstances of you being stuck in your career. In other words, for example, treading water, not really going anywhere. Or maybe you are aware that other people, maybe your peers, even people more junior to you, they are progressing ahead of you, and you're starting to feel or become aware of the fact that you are left behind, right? That you are progressing so much slower than they are. Maybe your situation is that you don't know what you want. You know that it's not this, that where you are isn't enough. You know, you've got a feeling that you want to be moving forward, but you just don't know which way to go. Should you stay? Should you go? Should you do something different? Yeah, and this is something going round and round in your head, creating, again, feeding those feelings of frustration and uncertainty. Maybe you know you are capable of more, but you are holding yourself back. So you realize that it's the overthinking and the overworking that's holding you back. Or maybe it is that you've received some negative feedback and you've been what I call catastrophizing that negative feedback. It feels like that negative feedback is the worst in the world and your career's over and you need to leave the country and go and do something else. And I don't say that flippantly. I literally had someone on a consultation call last week where that was the conclusion after having had some feedback and very negative feedback, right? Being put on a progression plan, and the conclusion this particular lawyer had come to was that they just can't succeed in this country and they need to leave and go elsewhere, go back to where they were born and where they first studied and try something completely different, or perhaps be a lawyer but somewhere else. So give up on their dream of being a successful lawyer in this country. So is that you, where you've had a bit of negative feedback and you're making it into this whole story about how you can't succeed? It's one of the examples or the reasons that I'm hearing for your frustration, your disillusionment, your discouragement. Another reason is feeling powerless in the market. This was something that came up in Be the First. That's my career progression coaching program for mid to senior level Black lawyers. This is what came up very recently in the most recent round of the group. It was that feeling that, well, it's all down to market forces. It's out of my hands. I'm completely powerless. What can I do? Again, feelings of powerlessness, feelings of frustration. Or maybe you're in a new role and you're finding that a challenge. It feels like a struggle. There's a lot more. You're operating at a higher level now. There are greater expectations, more demands on your time, and you're still doing your normal job as a parent and as a partner and as a member of the family and all of the stuff you've got going on outside of work, and you've got work, except work is more, right, and bigger and more demanding. So those, what I've given you, are just some of the examples of scenarios that I know so many of you are finding yourself in that are causing these feelings of, well, let's just call them feelings of discomfort, but the negative feelings of being isolated, of being dissatisfied where you are. And look, I know I've taken you to the place of thinking about what the problem is and how you're feeling and those negative feelings, but I promise you we're doing that in order to turn things around. We're doing that in order for you to look at, and this is really what I want, well, one of the things I want from this episode, I want you to come face to face with your dissatisfaction. I want you to confront the disillusionment you are feeling. I want you to confront the frustration, the isolation, the loneliness, the risk of burnout that you are tolerating. I want you to look them in the eye. I want you to kind of look yourself in the mirror and see if this is going on so that you feel motivated to change things. Because the only thing worse than feeling all of those things and being in those situations is a feeling that you are stuck and there's nothing you can do to change. Is the feeling that the circumstances outside of you, things that are outside of your control, that they need to change. Something else needs to happen outside of you in order for your situation to get better, in order for you to achieve your career goal, in order for you to feel happier and more fulfilled in your work. I want you to confront the discomfort and the negative feelings you're experiencing right now, because what I'm going to teach you has to come from a desire to change those things, right? And you're going to have that desire, I know, when you actually give yourself a couple of minutes to properly see where you are at and how you're feeling. It's going to be like, wow, this is how I've been feeling. And ask yourself, it's December 2025 at the time of recording this. Ask yourself, do I want to keep feeling like this next year? Do I want to wake up in 2026 and feel no different and feel helpless, feel powerless, and that this is my life, this is my lot, I've chosen it, so I guess I'm stuck here? No, We don't want to feel like that. And this is your opportunity, my friend, to change it. So look, this is the message I want you to take away. And that is that it doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to continue this way. All of this you can change, and I'm going to help you change it in this 5-part series, and we get going in this part 1. So the goal I have is not just, and I mean goal I have as your coach, as somebody who shows up week after week on this podcast or in this video series, on the emails that I send out to you regularly, on social media with the posts that I deliver to you regularly, and the reels that I post. What I want to achieve is that, yes, you are someone who can set a goal and achieve it, for sure. I want you achieving your goals. I want you to be able to wake up and say, yes, I've been made partner, or yes, I've been made counsel, or yes, I've been promoted to a new role, head of legal, or yes, I've managed to create a level of success in my business, and that success is sustainable. I want all of those goals for you, right? Whichever one is going to light you up. But what I also want, because for me it's not enough just that you achieve one goal, what I want is for you to become the person who can always identify when you are not happy in your life or in your career. Always identify where you are getting stuck, in the exhaustion, in the anxiousness, in the frustration, in the isolation, in the loneliness. I want you to be the person who can see when that is happening and be unwilling to tolerate it. And what I mean by unwilling to tolerate it is you are willing to take responsibility for changing it, for getting yourself out of it. This, my friend, I want to be your skill. A skill, it's one you get to carry with you your whole life, and it will mean your life will be extraordinary. Because there will be circumstances and situations, and you will have like your own brain at work, right, to create situations or experiences where you're not feeling fantastic, but you have those negative experiences and feelings. And so the work, or the goal rather, is never to have this like perfect human experience. There is no thing. A perfect experience is not a human experience, right? We're always going to encounter challenges and setbacks. Life is an arena. It is literally the game we signed up for the day we were born. Not that we had much choice over that. But like, this is what we've signed up for as humans, is the fact that there are going to be challenges, more difficult times, there are going to be setbacks. But what we want, and all we need actually in order to have amazing, fulfilling, successful lives, is not the absence of all of those challenges. It's to be the person who can recognize where you are when that is not where you want to be. Recognize when you're stuck and have the ability to take responsibility and say, well, I'm not staying here, I'm going to change it. So that's what I'm going to help you achieve. Here's what you're going to take away. You are going to take away the recognition that you can change things for yourself. You're going to take away the responsibility, right? The acknowledgement, I'm the one who's responsible. If I want to get out of this situation, if I want to be out of this funk, if I want to change this pattern of behavior or like way these things keep happening over and over again. I've got one client who feels like she keeps ending up in the same scenario of feeling overworked, of feeling frustrated, of feeling overstressed in her work, and it keeps happening in different roles. So what you will go away with is a sense of responsibility. I am responsible for breaking this habit, these habits, breaking this constant like repeating cycle of events that always I feel trapped, always I feel powerless. So you're going to take away the recognition you can change things, the responsibility to be the one to do something differently, to create that change. But you're going to take away a feeling of such empowerment, my friend. You are going to, as you start to open your mind to what is possible. They're like, the minute you accept that responsibility I just referred to, it's going to then open up so much possibility for you. You're going to feel much more empowered and see how much is within your control. And of course, I'm going to help you to see that. So recognition, responsibility, empowerment, that's the third thing you're going to take away. You're going to feel empowered when you see just how much you can control, and how by controlling that, changing it, the different outcome, the different results that you can create for yourself. The fourth thing I want you to take away is a commitment to taking action. So not just recognizing you can change something, not just being responsible, knowing you're responsible for changing it, not just feeling empowered as you realize how much you can change, but actually committing to the action required in order to create that change. So commitment is number 4, and then number 5 is activation. Because commitment, yes, that's like, okay, I'm going to do it. But activation is the physical act. For me, it's a very physical, and I'm like, if you're listening to this on the podcast, I'm literally myself moving so much. Just using the word activate gets me moving forward. So you commit to taking action, but the activation is the doing bit. And that's very important in order to get you moving and create the result. So 5 things I want you to take away from this episode. You are going to take away, you're going to get, because I've like planned this whole episode to put you in a state of high recognition, responsibility, empowerment, commitment, and activation. Because remember, I'm bringing you back to what this is all about. All of that is to serve the purpose of you always being the person who can look around, see when something's not working for you in your career or in your life, because this does apply to your life as well, right? And be the person who is unwilling to just let months and years go by and just be stuck there, because you're someone who knows that you can change it and you have the tools for doing that, which is where I come in. Okay, so here's what's coming up throughout the rest of the session. I'm going to talk about how you change things, right? Specifically, the 3 steps. It's only 3 steps, right? 3 steps to changing where you are right now into somewhere you want to be, or whatever it is you want to be, whether it's the goal or just the feeling, the experience of working in this industry. So I'm going to give you those 3 steps. And then I'm going to be very intentional about talking to coaching as the catch-all for those 3 steps, right? I'm going to be talking to how coaching is all of those steps in one. It is the ultimate expression of you saying, oh my gosh, I want to change things, and I'm going to take control of, I'm going to focus on what I can control, and I'm going to change things. No prize for counting how many times I use the word change things in this session. But yes, I'm going to speak very deliberately and intentionally to coaching as the solution. So don't like where you are now, want to be somewhere different, coaching is your fastest route to that. All right, and I'm going to be explaining why. I'm also going to talk about what might come up for you as I invite you to consider coaching as the solution, right? As this kind of part 1 in this, what it takes. I'm going to invite you to really think about it for yourself and be honest with yourself about what comes up, like what resistance you might have for coaching, what doubts or questions you have about coaching. I'm going to do my best to answer those uncertainties or those questions in this session, so you get a real deep understanding of why coaching is for me, and it will be for you the minute if you implement and you follow the process that I'm going to teach you, why it is absolutely the best course of action for you in terms of getting what you want from your career, moving on from where you are, being happier, having more balance, having a more sustainable career, getting that promotion that you know you are capable of, or that you've worked so hard for and you know you deserve. Yeah, why coaching is the answer. And then I'm going to talk about what's waiting for you on the other side of it, what my clients are coming out of the coaching program with, what's different for them and is going to be different for you, that is going to make it so irresistible for you. You're going to feel compelled to, activated to get to work, to do something, to no longer tolerate where you are and the dissatisfaction you have, and move into a completely different experience. So I have this image, this vision in my brain, right? Whenever I'm talking to you about anything really, about a problem that you might be struggling with and how I can help you solve it, talking to you about the challenges of being a black lawyer working in this industry, especially in overwhelmingly white corporate environments, and what's possible for you. When I talk to you about being the only one and how that feels, and I talk to you about being the first and how different that is and what that changes, all of those transformations, I visualize them, right? And here's the visual that I have. I want to invite you to share in it, actually. I'm going a little bit off script with my notes here, but I think it's a great imagery for you to help you see what I'm and really experience what I'm speaking to today. So in my mind's eye, I see you on the side of a riverbank, right? So all those of you are feeling, those negative feelings I outlined earlier, I see you on one side of a riverbank. And it's cloudy there, right? It's okay, you're functioning, you're doing very well. I mean, you're a lawyer, right? You're a black lawyer, which is no small feat. Like, that already speaks to a degree of success already. So it's not that you're like completely down and out, completely on your luck, and you've got no prospects or anything like that. You are, and partly that's the challenge, right? You are managing to cope. You're coping. And that visually in my mind is like you, and you're in the cloud, and there's just cloud, and maybe there's some rain. Sometimes it's a bit stormy, but it's cloudy on your side of the river. And on my side of the river, there is just sunshine. It is so beautiful. The grass is really green and lush. It's bright. It's warm. Yeah, and everything feels so much more enjoyable and easier. And then there's a bridge, right, between us two. And so my job, and how I approach this work, and when I'm speaking in every podcast episode or every blog post, is it's me coming across the bridge, right? I'm coming to see where you are, to really understand better and better. This is why I work exclusively with black lawyers. It's like I want that deeper understanding, and it can only get more deep, and it only get better, and the better it gets, the better I can serve you, right? The better I can speak to you and meet you where you are. But I see my job as coming over and I'm saying, look, over there, there's all this sun, right? There's all this sunshine on the other side of the riverbank. So come with me. Like, my job, I want to bring you across the river to that other side and across that bridge. And that bridge, my friend, is coaching. So can you see why when I talk about coaching, and as I'm going to talk about it in this episode, you're going to really hear the passion in my voice, and hopefully start to see, literally visualize, as well as understand why coaching is the fastest way for you to transform where you are now, how you're feeling in your career right now, and in your life right now for so many of you, where that feeling and that situation is less than you want it to be, where it's uncomfortable, where it's difficult, where it's hard, whether it's exhausting, right? To transform that into an experience that I promise is possible for you, where you feel uplifted by your work, you feel empowered in your work, you feel accomplished in your work, you feel motivated in your work and fulfilled. Did I say fulfilled already? It's worth saying twice if I did. All right, so this is why I'm going to be speaking so deeply to coaching. Okay, so as I said, this is part 1 of a 5-part series, and the key to this part, if you think about what it takes to progress, to be successful as a black lawyer, the first thing it takes is for you to take ownership. Taking ownership of your success, taking ownership of your progress, taking ownership of your career is the first thing it takes to progress in this industry, to be successful as a black lawyer. So this is all about you taking ownership. So there are 3 parts to taking ownership. Here's what they are. Number 1, it's deciding what you want, okay? Part of taking ownership is saying, oh, do you know what? I don't want this anymore. I want something different. Now, I want you to pay attention if the first thing your brain has offered you here is, but I don't know what I want, okay? Don't let yourself get stuck on, I don't know what I want. Because one of the things that coaching helps you do is to figure out what you want. But not knowing what you want shouldn't be a barrier. It isn't a barrier. It isn't a reason for you to not take ownership. I know I've used a lot of nots there. Stay with me, right? What I want to offer is you can decide that what you want is to no longer be feeling despondent, disillusioned, frustrated, isolated, lonely in your career. Like, that can be enough as that first step, that first part of taking ownership. So don't get too caught up on, is it the right thing to stay or should I go? Should I go for partnership or should I just settle for staying where I am, or just go for counsel and stay there and that be fine, right? Don't get caught up in that. If that is something you're struggling with, you're not sure what you want in your career, coaching, the first thing that we do when we work together, like when you join Be The First, if you're a mid to senior level black lawyer, the first thing we do is we get really clear on what your goal is. So don't let that be a barrier, or don't let yourself think that not knowing what you want to achieve in your career means you can't take ownership. You take ownership just by deciding, like, this isn't enough for me, or this isn't like what I choose anymore. I want something different. I want something better. So the first part of taking ownership is the deciding what you want. The second part is taking responsibility. Taking responsibility for getting yourself there. What that looks like is no more saying, or no more allowing rather, the fact that there is no one who looks like you. No more allowing that to be the reason why you can't achieve your goal. Not allowing the fact that your environment is not very inclusive, that they're constantly doing things and not realizing that it excludes you. No longer allowing that to be the reason why you can't get what you want. No more allowing the fact that some of the feedback you've been getting feels challenging. It feels like you can't be yourself. Feels like they're asking you to change. No more allowing that to be the reason why you can't achieve the goal you want in your career. And no more allowing microaggressions and racism to be the deciding factor, the thing that stands between you and your goal. This is what taking responsibility is. Taking responsibility is saying, well, all of those circumstances may be true, they do exist, but I'm going to focus on what I control. I can control. And I'm going to look and keep looking for the things I can control. And I'm going to keep taking myself to that question when something happens that it feels out of my control and it feels hard. I'm going to take my brain always to, okay, well, what can I do? What can I control? What can I change? Yeah. So it's taking responsibility. That's the critical second part of taking ownership. And then the third part is the commitment to starting now. My friend, if you are not starting on the road to changing what you can control, if you are not actively engaged in the work of changing what you can control, of focusing on that, of finding different things that you can do to move you towards your goal, of taking action, if you are not started or in the work of that, you have not taken ownership. You can't take ownership from outside of the arena. You've got to be in the arena doing the work. So how you know you've taken ownership, if you've decided what you want, and that might look like deciding for now what you don't want, that's okay. If you've said, right, I'm going to be responsible, I'm going to get myself there. And then if you're in the arena taking action, right, you're committed to starting now, all right? Those three things. And you absolutely, this is what it takes, you absolutely want to have those three things in order to progress to succeed as a Black lawyer. This is my message to you, part one. Yeah, you've got to have ownership. You've got to take ownership. And ownership looks like deciding, looks like responsibility, it looks like commitment to getting started now. Okay, let's talk about now the best way of taking ownership. And by best, what I mean is the most effective way, the quickest way. And what I mean by that is the quickest way to get you to the result that you want. And why coaching is it. And why I want to recommend, like really strongly, with so much love and conviction and commitment to you having the career that you want, fulfilling your goals, really having a positive, fulfilling experience of being a Black lawyer. I want that for you so much, and I promise you the best way I know for you to achieve that is coaching. I am very passionate about coaching as the solution, as that bridge. Remember in that vision I painted for you? Here's why. When you invest in coaching, when you decide, do you know what? I'm going to get a coach. I am going to join a coaching program, and that is going to be my gift to myself in 2026. Here's what you are doing. Number one, you are making the decision. Right? You're making a decision about what you want or don't want. So you're saying, I want things to be different next year. And it might be, I want things to be different because I want to be promoted. Or you're saying, I want things to be different because I don't want to be here again this time next year. Yeah. So when you invest, when you sign up to a coaching program, and when you join Be the First as the best example I know of for you as a Black lawyer to progress, right? When you sign up, you are making that decision. So we've ticked the first box, right, of what it requires to have to take ownership. The second thing you're doing is you're taking responsibility. That's box number 2. You are literally, by engaging in a coaching program, you're saying, I'm responsible for getting myself to that goal, for creating that result that I want. Of course you are. That's you committing to coaching. It's you saying, right, I'm going to find all of the things that I can control and I'm going to go out and do them. The third thing you do is you empower yourself. There is so much empowerment when you sign up to coaching, because you're acknowledging, right, that I can do this. It's within my control. I'm not as powerless as I thought I was. I can be bigger than the circumstances of my environment, my organization not being diverse, not being especially inclusive. I can be bigger than the circumstances of microaggressions or like racism. They're not going to stand in the way between me and my goal. Okay? So empowerment is the other thing that the moment you join a coaching program, the moment you decide, do you know what? This is the year. You are going to feel so empowered. And that feeling of powerlessness that you've had in the past is going to melt away as you realize how much you could do, how much is within your control. The fourth thing, it's the commitment to starting now. So this was like the third box. I know I'm on item number 4 about what you get when you invest in coaching, but the taking ownership piece, this is the third part. It's the commitment to starting now. The minute you join Be the First, you sign up to the program, that's you committing, right? Not least because there's a financial investment there. This is you committing. This is you saying, this is it. I'm putting skin in the game. And this is the bit I love. Like, financial investment is so powerful for creating that sense of I'm taking ownership, I'm taking control, I'm the one responsible for changing my career. I'm the one responsible for how happy I can be in my career and the goals that I achieve and the progress that I make. So you investing in coaching is like a commitment. It's a visible, tangible commitment. You will feel it in your body when you make that commitment. It will feel like nerve-wracking. It will feel exciting. And that's because you've reached that moment of committing to taking action now, which is so important. Remember, that's how you know you're taking ownership. You commit to taking action now. And then you get 3 other things. In addition, like when all of that is done, what you also are then going to get is the movement towards your goal, right? The movement to your goal, not towards it, but to it, to the achievement of it that comes from as a result of the accountability you get from working with a coach who will keep you on track. That comes from the support you will get from working with a coach who believes in you long before you believe in yourself, like 100%, holds so much belief in you and keeps you, again, supports you along the way, helps you through every setback, every challenge. And finally, the strategy, literally knowing exactly what to do, because this is what a coach will also do for you, is like be able to bring, or certainly inside Be the First, I can bring the benefit, not just of my coaching skill set, but also my industry knowledge, my experience of coaching thousands and thousands of hours, like of Black lawyers wanting to progress, right? Helping them to achieve their goals, helping them to get that promotion, helping them to achieve a more sustainable way of working, helping you to come unstuck, get out of your own way. So you'll also get the strategy and the skills and the tools, and I'm going to be talking about those in the coming episodes. You get all of that, right? The minute you sign up to coaching inside Be the First. I can't promise you that in other coaching programs or with other coaches. I'm speaking from the experience of being the coach inside Be the First, who takes responsibility for you having all of that, right? And for supporting you and keeping you on track to your goal. So I want to address your next question. Now that I've really sold you on the value of coaching, the power of coaching for creating that essential ownership that is like essential, the essential ownership that is required for you to achieve your goal. Your next question might be, well, okay, so how do I go about it? Like, what's the right process? So you might be nervous about it. You might be unsure and not worked with a coach before. And here's what I want to advise. Number 1, I advise you speak to your peers, like ask around. Word of mouth is very useful. Referrals are it's probably the biggest source of new clients for me is referrals. People who've done the Be the First program, people who've worked with me in some form or another, or they've been taught by me, or they've been to a seminar, or they've been to a training or a keynote, whatever it might be. So like speak to your peers and get their view. Listen out for who is being recommended. Number 2, I recommend you also get your own experience of working with that particular coach. And one of the things that I do pride myself on, and I give you the opportunity to do, is have an experience of working with me. You have all of the podcast episodes that I've produced where I talk about what's going on inside Be The First. I share client stories, client successes, client challenges that I help them overcome. Yeah. So, and you can also, by the way, if you're on my mailing list, if you follow me on social media, and by the way, you should be both of those things, right? Follow me on social media, LinkedIn especially. You also get to read my posts, which give you not just a flavor, it shows you the coaching philosophy that I bring to the Be The First program and what you will get. It shows you some of the teachings, it shows you, and I'm constantly solving for problems that come up within Be The First that I know you're struggling with, and you can literally have the experience of working with me just reading those posts. Just listening to this podcast is going to really inform and confirm, your suspicions that I'm the right person to help you to get you taking ownership and to get you to your goal. Okay, I've got to stop saying help you get to your goal. I do so much more than that. I get you to your goal. I keep you on track. I hold you accountable. I literally every step of the way I'm coaching you. It's my commitment, my passion. Yeah. And then finally, when you're thinking about and making the decision to sign up for coaching, I want to offer, like, for transparency, you don't need a black coach. I genuinely don't think and don't believe you absolutely have to have a black coach in order to find coaching useful or for that coaching intervention to be successful. But here's what I want to add. So many of the challenges that you are experiencing in your working environment are down to the black experience. The black experience of there being no one who looks like you, of not being included or not being an inclusive environment, of feeling that threat to like who you are, your authenticity. It's hard to be who you are. The microaggressions, the racism that you're exposed to, or colleagues or friends who are exposed to, that you know of, that there are hints of. So much of what's holding you back is down to that. So having a coach who knows that, has that lived experience as I have, is so valuable. For a start, it's going to, we're going to get to the chase much more quickly, right? There's not going to be any explaining needed at all. Yeah, I'm going to understand very clearly. I'm also going to be able to tell you and coach you in a way that actually a non-black coach doesn't have the standing to coach you. And what I mean by that, there are things I can say that you will receive from another somebody who's been like a black lawyer in a white corporate world. From another black person, there are some things you can hear that you just can't hear from a white person, and that will impact their ability to coach you and to tell you some hard truths sometimes. It will impact your ability to hear what they are saying or how they're coaching you. So I want you to pay attention to that and know that that does change things. It does change your experience of coaching this program. Is why I'm so passionate about really being so available to this community and knowing the value of what I uniquely can offer you in terms of that lived experience and that industry knowledge, as well as the coaching expertise, and of course all the client transformations that I've created for people just like you, for lawyers just like you, especially that mid to senior level. You want to progress to that next level. Okay, so hopefully that's given you the sort of also a process for evaluating, okay, so what do I do next? How do I, if you're sold on the value of coaching, remember that vision I gave you of being on one side where it's all shady and a little bit rainy, and then coaching being the bridge to the other side of the riverbank where it's sunny, where you're achieving your goals, where you're feeling accomplished and like, I talk to the feeling quite a lot because that's what I want. It's the feeling that you are in control of your career, that it's where you want it to be. And then that bridge, therefore, is coaching. That's how I want you to think about it. Okay, here's what might come up for you. I don't know what I want. I've already tackled that. As soon as you sign up for Be The First Coaching, the first thing we do is we have a call where I help you to establish that, right? We get clear on what your goal is. So that doesn't and certainly shouldn't be a barrier. And in fact, if you've been sitting there unsure, right, about what it is you want, what you should do, it's the perfect way to get out of that uncertainty, get out of that stuck in the I don't know, which is a place you can stay stuck in that for years. I see people getting caught up for a very long time in, I don't really know what I want. whether I should stay or go, whether I should go for that promotion. So I don't know what I want is not a reason to hold back. It's a reason to step forward, because I will help you to establish that. I know all the right questions to ask you to help you figure that out. Another thing that might come up, oh, well, it's not worth it. Like when you think about the financial investment, you might be like, oh, that's not worth it. Oh my gosh, that's a lot. And I want to offer, you're not buying coaching. Let's be very clear. You're not buying coaching, you're buying the result of the coaching. You're not buying the bridge, you're buying the experience of being on the other side of the bridge, basking in the sun. Okay? So really remind yourself of that it's the result of working with me, or the result of being inside Be the First, which I'll talk to in a moment in more detail. That's what you want to evaluate. It's like, what does it look like for me to be where I want to be? And what is that worth to me? Am I willing to pay that much to have the career that I want, that I've worked so hard for, the career that I deserve, to show what I'm capable of? Think about it in those terms. You may have that feeling that you, what else have I written here that might come up for you? You might actually question whether it will work or not. Like, if I do this coaching, I think this comes up more than we admit to ourselves. It's like, will it work? Will I do the work? And I want to offer that, yes, it's down to you to do the work to make it work, but a good coach is going to keep you on track, because you will fall off track. There'll be times you don't want to do stuff because it's hard. There'll be times you don't want to do stuff or don't feel able to do stuff because you're busy. And a good coach has already allowed for that, has already planned for that. It's literally part of my process inside Be the First when you join, right? That when any of that stuff comes up that puts you in danger of not actually moving forward, not making progress, not doing the work, any of that, I have exactly the tools. And you can ask anyone who's been inside the program. I always know what to say to you or how to coach you when you're feeling stuck or when you're not making progress. All right? So I want you to know that coaching works because of a commitment on your part to the goal that you want to achieve, and a commitment on my part to supporting you to get there in every way possible. All right? So don't let it won't work. Don't make that be a reason why you're not willing to try. Because let's face it, not trying something new is going to mean you still being where you are this time next year. You still being no further along 6 months from now. So if you have been stuck for a while, then maybe it is time. It is time to try something new, and that's something you be coaching. And take a leap of faith that it's going to work. But not blindly, but knowing how I teach, knowing, having listened to perhaps some of the other podcasts, read some of the posts, knowing how it resonates so deeply with you. Go with that feeling. Go with that sort of, that feeling in your gut, if nothing else. Like, this is worth a try, because my friend, when it works, it's so worth it. It changes everything for you. And I want that for you, especially in 2026, which is where we're leading and heading towards very, very rapidly. All right. If you don't have the budget, if you're that mid to senior level and you don't have the budget to join Be the First, I want you to challenge yourself on that. I want you to think about the things that you pay for very easily. And I don't mean easily because money comes easily, but I mean you pay for them without question. And I want you to consider that the only reason you don't think you have budget for coaching is because you're not used to paying for coaching. Like, for example, I have been working with a coach now. I've been coaching for nearly 20 years. I've had a coach pretty much for all of that time. Not the same one. I've had different coaches for different stages of my career and my business. And I want to offer that before I started working with a coach, I never believed I had money, like free, available money to spend on a coach. You're joking. Never had any spare money at all. But then because I believed in coaching so much, I took the risk and decided, I'm going to try this out. I'm going to find the money. What can I take? And this is how I operate in my business as well. It's very effective. If I want to do something new, I look at what my existing expenses are. I'm like, okay, so what can I change? Where can I save money over here in order to spend money here in a way that I know that is going to bring me much bigger rewards and a bigger return on my investment? So challenge yourself if that's what comes up. Oh, I don't have the budget. Because I know that for a lot of you, if it weren't for that feeling, you would be signing up and joining Be the First, right now. All right? So challenge yourself. Ask yourself. Actually genuinely look at your finances and say to yourself, what could I move around? How could I afford this? Yeah. And if you want help with that, we can jump on a call and I can help you ask those questions to help you figure that out. All right. And then last but not least, I've just written here, like, where do I find a coach? I kind of address that a little bit, and I talk to like asking your peers and word of mouth. But what might happen is, like, if somebody recommends me or you're reading my post and you're like, yes, it's Caroline, you may come, and you'll be like, oh, but it's a group program and I want one-to-one, I need one-to-one, and here's what I want to offer. And I say this to all of you when you say to me, oh, but I needed one-to-one. I want to offer that you trust your coach. Trust me that I know exactly the best format for you to progress your career, to overcome those challenges we've talked about. I am the expert in how coaching works, how coaching is applied. I have, as I said, thousands and thousands of hours of experience coaching Black lawyers just like you, right? I've had years of experience coaching different formats, and the mid to senior level into like looking at and progressing to partnership or whatever that next promotion level for you. The group program, the group format is absolutely ideal. I've chosen it and curated it and structured it in a way that such that you are going to get the results faster. You're going to get so much more out of that at your level than you would one-to-one. That's why I've created the group. That's why it has been so successful. You get so much community. You get the added motivation, the accountability, the sense that you're progressing together, the 360 learning, I call it, that you get from witnessing other people be coached while you're being coached directly as well. Yeah, it's so powerful. And I want to offer, for example, if you're taking your car in for a service, you are not telling the car, not dealership, the car garage, the service place, you're not telling them how to do the service on your car. You just want the service, right? You want the result. And you're not presuming to know the best way to get that service, right? You're going and you're trusting them to do the best service so that you come out and your car is serviced. You got the result you want. So it's the same with coaching. I want you to be able to trust, right? You want a particular result, trust that the process me as this coach, as the expert has created to help you get there, to get you to your goal, trust that that is the right one. Okay, just like you would if you took your car in for a service. All right, my friend. So I want to finish now by just reminding you about what is waiting for you, the result that you are going to create and achieve for yourself the minute you take ownership, because this is what this episode is about, is taking ownership. And the way I'm offering as the fastest, the most effective, the most enjoyable way of taking ownership, and the way that becomes the thing that will change things for you, is coaching. So literally the minute you sign up for coaching, the minute you join Be The First, you are going to feel different. You're going to become the person who is committed to your progress, who takes responsibility for where you are and where you want to be. This is going to change how you feel in your career immediately. From feeling stuck and powerless to feeling, oh my gosh, I can already feel. Have you ever had that feeling? All you've done is like signed up for something and you can already feel the change in you. So that's already going to start happening from the first minute. Who you are changes because of that commitment. And then I want you to now think about fast forwarding to that time when you're in the sun, right? You've come across the bridge that is coaching. You're waking up, you're feeling in control. You're waking up, you're knowing what to do in your career, and you're not having to be able to block out all the noise of everything else because you know exactly where you're going. You know exactly what you need to do to take there, and you've got the tools and the support to get you there, right? You've got the direction. And any challenges that come up along the way, you know how to solve them because you've got a coach there every single week. Because we coach inside Be The First every single week. I'm available for you, to coach you on everything that comes up, as well as to teach you the strategy. Yeah, all of this you get when you sign up when you join Be The First. It's what's waiting for you. As I said, I can't vouch for other coaching programs. And then going through this process, no more feeling isolated and alone and on the risk of burnout and feeling disillusioned and feeling discouraged and wondering where to go next. And all of those things that I listed at the beginning, no more for you. What's left is purpose, direction, challenge still, of course, because nobody said being a lawyer is easy. We knew it was going to be challenging when we signed up to this journey. But the point is who you are in this journey, where you're going on that journey, and your experience of yourself, of the industry, and the success you create along the way. All of that, that's what counts, and that's what you get. That's what coaching is all about, is having that experience be the one that you can wake up in the morning and feel good about. Wake up in the morning and not feel dread, but actually be looking forward to it, to rising to the challenge of it. All of that is waiting for you on the other side. And of course, let's not forget the promotion, the money that comes with that. Yeah, the sense of accomplishment, the recognition, the sense of fulfillment. Let's not forget all of that too that comes when you get to your goal. All right, that's it from me. Here's what I want to offer that you do. Remember that activation piece, very, very important. I have a free webinar which will be airing, which I will be delivering next Tuesday, the 16th of December at what time? 12:30 p.m. UK time, right? So if you're listening to this, I want to encourage you to go, what do I want you to do? I want you to either connect with me on LinkedIn or look out for me on LinkedIn or on Instagram, because I'll be publicizing it there. Also, make sure you sign up to my mailing list. You can go to carolineflanagan.com and you'll find a link to sign up to my newsletter, and that will also contain details. Or you can just look in the comments or look in the show notes to this episode, where you will find a link to the registration page. My friend, this is the critical moment. Come to this webinar. And if you think you can only come to some of the webinar, sign up anyway. I will send you a replay. And just come for as much of it live as you possibly can, because I'm going to be giving you the full picture of everything it takes, and I'm going to be absolutely talking to you about Be the First and why it is the best decision that you can make for your career right now if you are that mid to senior level and you want 2026 to be your year. All right, that's it from me. That was a big one. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's filled you with possibility, filled you with enthusiasm, and most importantly, I hope it sold you on the irresistible value and power of coaching for giving you that essential ownership, which is what it takes, part one of what it takes to progress as a Black lawyer. That's it from me. I'll see you next week, where I'll be talking about the strategy. Right, part two of what it takes will be the strategy you follow to progress. So make sure you tune in. Bye for now.